Before Saturday's attempted assassination of Donald Trump, there have been at least 15 direct assaults on U.S. presidents, presidents-elect, and presidential candidates, 5 of them fatal. How will Saturday's attempt on former President Trump's life be remembered in history? Joining me now is NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.
And these were not all political. You know, we don't know.
No, that's for sure.
We know that John Hinckley wasn't squeaky from. I don't think you can really call that political either against former President Ford. So, but they do change history. Certainly the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt did, from my experience in covering 8 years of that presidency. And others as well. What happened in 1968, you've been pointing out with Dr. King and with Robert Kennedy Jr. certainly influenced what happened with Richard Nixon.
Sure, opened the way to his victory. Yeah, I think that's true. There are a lot of emotionally disturbed loners, and we don't know yet what the motive of the accused shooter was. I hope we find that out. That will help. And we also don't know what the result of this is going to be, if there is an impact on history. But, you know, I wish I could tell you and our friends watching, Andrea, that no assassin can change the course of history, and that should be our goal. But you look at history, and they really do. As a result of an assassin in 1865, John Wilkes Booth, our president was no longer Abraham Lincoln, but a racist, sort of third-string member of the pro-slavery party, Andrew Johnson, who was not exactly zealous about bringing rights to Black Americans, and we've seen the result of that ever since. Or Lee Harvey Oswald, if he was involved in the Kennedy assassination. If he was, we do not to this day, and there's considerable evidence, by the way, know what his motive might have been. He denied that he had committed the crime until he was himself murdered 2 days later. So if assassin does change the course of history, and in Oswald's case, or whoever else may have been involved, and I have no theory, that was a case in which Lyndon Johnson became president instead of JFK. We got into the Vietnam War mess, 550,000 Americans in Vietnam at the peak, 60,000 killed. I think that's not a mistake that John Kennedy would have made. So that was a big effect on this country.
The shock of what happened this weekend, the fact that it was so close, you know, inches. And actually, Donald Trump doesn't usually have slideshows or images, and he was pointing to one, which was unusual for this rally. So that he turned his head. I mean, that is, I mean, it could have been so much worse. And
absolutely,
it's got to be a wake-up call to security, but also to everyone in America at what the vulnerability is of our system.
Yes, and I think, you know, we can look at the assassination attempts that you rightly mentioned that have occurred, but let's take a look someday when we have access to them. It'll be long after I'm around, when we find out actually how many threats there were against presidents and people who were running for president in the last 30 years. I would bet you there have been a lot, and probably a rising number, and probably the Secret Service and its allies have done an amazing job in defeating almost all of them, but obviously almost all is not good enough.
Yeah, and we know from a lot of our reporting that the threats, the racist threats in 2008, just were, you know, completely out of control.
Totally.
And we still managed to elect the first Black president who, you know, successfully had a presidency. At least he was not vulnerable to attack for 8 years, you know, as far as everyone knows.
No, that's for sure. I'm sorry.
No, pick up on your thought as to where we are today. We have both the President of the United States and the presumptive Republican nominee, whose roll call will be, you know, held later today, we believe, both calling for unity. At the same time, we have people around them on both sides, still with hot rhetoric. In some cases, we expect that some of that will come from the convention. Certainly, President Biden tried to pre-butt that. And then we have a real interview with Lester Holt tonight.
right, which we're looking very much forward. He's doing at the White House today. Yes, here's a case where there is a rising number of emotionally disturbed loners in this country for all sorts of social reasons that we both know. They can sometimes be incited by hot rhetoric in a hot campaign. So all we can do is to say, let's keep politics and violence as separate as possible, and three things. No violence in a campaign, if possible. Fierce debate between the two candidates, but it has to be fact-based. And number three, finally, no emotional, exaggerated personal insults. That's what leads to this kind of thing.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.